Kako, and welcome everyone to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, the first meeting of the Board of Trustees for the calendar year 2026. Today is Friday, January 16th, 2026. The time now is 1:20 p.m. Board Secretary, please take a roll call.
Trustee Ahuna.
Eu.
Trustee Akaka.
Eu.
Trustee Akina.
Aloha mai kākou.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Eu.
Trustee Lindsay. Here. Trustee Souza.
Eu.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Present.
Chair Kahele.
Present.
You have 9 trustees present. You have quorum.
Okay, this meeting can be viewed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream and also on Olelo TV. For those joining us on Zoom to testify or listen, please note that we're using the webinar platform rather than the standard Zoom meeting format. As an attendee, you'll be able to watch and listen to the proceedings. If you wish to testify on a specific agenda item, please follow these steps. Please raise your hand to indicate that you'd like to speak. We will change your status from attendee to panelist when it is your turn. This may take a few seconds, so we appreciate your patience. As a panelist, you have the option to turn on your camera and unmute yourself prior to providing testimony. Once you have finished testifying, please mute yourself and you will be returned to attendee status. Chair would like to now introduce Keishan Kikina, the Chief Operations Officer, to introduce the administrative staff that are in attendance. Aloha, Keishan.
Aloha mai kākou, mahalo nui trustees. This afternoon we have with us from administration our Interim Administrator Chief Executive Officer, Summer Sylva, our Investment Director and Interim CFO, Ryan Lee, our General Counsel, Everett Ota, our Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, Hailama Farden, our Operations Manager, Royce Campbell, and our IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Kyle Sassier. Mahalo.
All right, thanks, Keishan. And for the Board of Trustees, we have our Board Secretary, Lehua Itokazu, our Interim Board Chief of Staff, Alina Young. We have Kapono Kona sitting as our Board Counsel today, as well as other trustee aides and secretaries that have joined us to support our trustees. Our first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item? This is the approval of minutes for November 13th and November 24th, 2025.
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the, can we get the unanimous consent to just take the approval of minutes in one block? Does a trustee have any amendments to the minutes? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the November 13, 2025 and November 24, 2025 minutes?
So moved.
Trustees, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Here. Thank you. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, thank you, Lehua. Next item on our agenda is the status of OHA Activities. Lehua, do you have anyone sign up to speak on this item?
No one is signed up to speak on these items.
Okay, Chair will now recognize the administration to provide a update on OHA Activities.
Mahalo nui, Chair. I would like to call up Hailama Farden to the table to give a briefing on this item.
Chair, trustees, auhia oko e nā manu nā alo leo ka'aina. Office of Hawaiian Affairs is very pleased, you all with us as trustees, to announce Kūkahekahe 2026. This is about the first time in a little over 10 years that a Kūkahekahe will be happening. And it'll be, it'll be a part of the activities of Mahina Olelo Hawaiʻi. I placed a flyer before you all so you can take it with you. We have our entire team of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs working on this, since Office of Hawaiian Affairs is sponsoring this. I will note that on Hawaii Island, there's going to be an activity with Kāka'ula, Navahi, and schools connected to that. I know Chair will be there. On Maui, on that same day, will be Olaka'i, and that'll be at Lahaina Cannery. But other events will be held in the afternoon. So the Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be having its own Kūkahekahe. We're inviting the community to the tune to not exceed 200 guests. What's really special about this is not only that there's not been a Kūkahekahe in over a decade, but it's a day that we can bring our Olelo Hawaii to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and that we're standing in that realm. I have to ask for our trustees, for those of you who are able to be there on this day, I ask that you join us. The other part is we're going to be preparing some certificates that I ask your favor to sign them. We'll be honoring the founders of the Ahahui Olelo Hawaii. And these are not just the early board members, but these are the folks who were the steering committee to plan for the creation of the Ahahui Olelo Hawaii in 1972, 73. So there are two living original steering committee members, and that's Larry Lindsay Kimura and Sarah Keahi. She was known as Mrs. Quick at one time at Kamehameha. They are the last living. Among the others were Fred Cachola, and he was really the driver. Auntie Esther McClellan, Dorothy Kahananui, Mahela Rosehill, and Corinthia Harbottle. They were the founders. But we have two remaining, so we'll be asking if you don't mind to sign the certificates as well as present them if you're here. The second group that we'll be honoring will be our last living mana leo outside of Niihau. So we know of 13 left, and not all of them will be able to come. But I've been on the phone speaking with them, and many of them are making the effort to be there. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be helping their airfare to get here, to be, I have it in the budget, and we're going to work that through. But it's going to be a great honor because we hope that there will be many more opportunities where our mana leo will gather again. And yet those days are very precious to us. So we don't know this. So I've already had the confirmation from Kaʻūpūlehu's family that if everything goes well that morning, they'll bring him. We have flying in from Molokai, Opu'ulani Albino. She's probably the last mana leo on Molokai. And yet we have Molokai people who live on Oahu, like Earl Kava'a, Kahuya Bui. Anyway, I'm still reaching out to all of these great mana leo, and we're hoping to get as many as we can to come that day. And those will also be certificates I'll be asking our trustees to present. Now, I know that you're probably worried. Oh, I have to dig out the Olelo Hawaii. Yes, you will that day. And it's okay because it is a group from very beginners all the way to the more advanced speakers. So please know that there's room for everybody there. And we'll have little sentence patterns so you can practice, or, blanco ui noa, and all of that stuff, all that fun stuff. But I just want to share this with you. We're proud of it. It's actually, we have some great partners, as you can see on the flyer. We're joined by the Ahahui Olelo Hawaii, although they are leading the Olaka'i with Kanaeokana, so they'll be on Maui that day. We have Kuileo Hawaii, and as a part of a favor going out, it will be the pins that Chair is wearing for Olelo Hawaii, Kahuli Leo Le'a, Ahapunana Leo, Hawaiian Council, and Kanaeokana, and there's still others that are saying, hey, we want to jump in, we want to help. So I offer this to you all. February 14th is the day. La aloha la pu'ai, Valentine's Day. So I'm open if you have any questions. Otherwise, I got to head up and keep moving.
Trustees, questions?
Yeah, just one quick.
Trustee Ona?
You mentioned, I called it back in the day, Miss Rosehill and Miss Harbottle.
Yes.
Still.
They're not with us anymore, but we do want to remember them
Oh,
for
I
their
see. I
work
was
in
like,
steering.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
So the only two are Larry Kimura and Auntie Sarah Keahi. So those are the last two. And then there'll be some of the early board members of Ahahui that we're trying to get to come. So, yeah. And it was beautiful, but because most of the steering committee people didn't speak Hawaiian, but they loved it so much they needed to do something, so they were right behind it.
Trustees, any discussion or any questions for Hailama? Okay, well, Hailama, it sounds amazing.
And
Sounds
you all
wonderful.
get emails as we get
Thank
closer.
you for putting your effort behind this. You mentioned Hilo. That's also the day for Pulama Mauliola for the Aha Punana Leo, which we are a major legacy sponsor of. And so I'll be there in Hilo with my my kaika mahine there that day, and maybe I can come over for the last last half of this day. Very, very special. Thank you.
Mahalo nui,
Mahalo.
everyone. I hope to see you.
Oh, Trustee Lapa?
Being that is a special day, are we gonna wear red?
Oh, red for Pu'uai Aloha. Yeah, we didn't even get to that part yet. What we might encourage people to wear. We're worried about getting our people, our kupuna there, that day. Well, oh, by the way, I should have mentioned, we are going to have a ha'iolelo competition. So we're going to have two types of ho'opanau memorization competition, and they will either have a short subject that they memorize, or they could write their own and enter the competition. Then there's going to be an uluvale competition, so that's impromptu speech, and also a paio kalai manao debate in Hawaiian, in which the expertise of presentation is what they'll be judged on. So you pull a subject, and then you pull pro and con. So if personally you're not pro or con, you're going to be judged on your delivery either way. And then we also have a haku mele competition. So, and then we're working on some details. What are some of the prizes? And that's what we're working on now with our community members too.
It'll be right here on the main stage.
Right here.
Lāma Kukui, main
Lāma
stage.
Kukui
Fantastic.
on Valentine's Day. Okay, aloha nui, trustees, mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, Sean.
Mahalo nui, Chair. I'd like to call Summer Sylva to the table for the next update on our 2026 priorities and any other updates that she may have.
Okay, thank you. Aloha. I also want to thank our staff who joined us in the Onipa'a March earlier this morning. It was a well-attended event. A lot of work and effort went into tabling and readying our shuttle service to take staff over. And OHA was proud to be a supporter, walking alongside our lahui in commemoration of the 133rd anniversary of the overthrow. And this year's theme was Mai Po'ina Oi Ya'u, Don't Forget About Me. It's both an acknowledgement of the Queen's legacy as well as a sitting with some of the really heavy issues that our lahui is still confronting, among them the military lease issues and the return of Hawaiian Islands or Hawaiian lands as trust resources once more. And so mahalo for being a part of that. Today's March event was sponsored by the Queen's Court. We will be having as fulsome a footprint in tomorrow's March as well, which is being sponsored by Mutual Aid Lahui. OHA staff will be tabling and participating in the march, and we encourage folks who are unable to join us today to join us tomorrow. So mahalo, I just wanted to give that update. Additionally, in our human resources, I think is something that we're tracking closely. I have some good news today in terms of welcoming a new staff member to the OHA organization. Steve Gu is now the new Native Hawaiian Revolving Loan Fund loan manager. He brings more than 30 years of progressive leadership experience in financial services, having served in community-focused lending roles and senior leadership positions, including as president and CEO, as well as the CFO of Hawaii Federal Credit Union. He brings, a record of strong commitment to community development and financial empowerment. He is steeped in experience around CDFIs and CDFI certifications, which enable broader access to capital for economically distressed populations. And his work in the past, aligns really well with our mission and what we're trying to accomplish here in terms of increasing financial opportunities for our beneficiaries. So we welcome him on his first day here, and we will be soon welcoming 2 more staffers on February 2nd, a communication strategist and the managing director of our real estate land division. So on that, a meeting shortly thereafter with the board, we will introduce those new additions to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs as well. I also wanted to announce that what has been a long and undergoing project around the Hawaii Information Portal, which is basically our payroll systems portal. Some major updates that required the portal to shut down has now been completed, and we're hoping that some of the improvements that were made during that brief period is going to, bear fruit in terms of ensuring that employees are correctly titled and recognized in the system, so that they can also, anyone who has a supervisory role can have more direct access to somebody under their supervision, which was sort of a hiccup that had existed before. So it helps to streamline not just payroll and human resources processes, but then also really empowering our managers, our leadership here to take a more direct oversight role in their subordinates. So we welcome that as well. There is also a cultural, historical, I think, communal celebration that we wanted to highlight as well. Parker was going to join us to give us more details, but he's sick, and so I'm giving you sort of a brief summary. But we were on Kauai for the military leased listening sessions and briefings, and Uncle Rupert was there, really effusively grateful for OHA's role in helping with the return of 17 ki'i to Kauai. And that particular event was completed here in Oahu on Tuesday, I believe. So the ki'i are now in transport to Kauai and will be restored to their original place of stewardship under, really thoughtful aloha aina leaders on Kauai. And so I wanted to mahalo our staff who played an integral role in helping to expedite the return of the ki'i and also be part of the protocol that was a meaningful gesture for the community as well. And I want to give, Trustee Ahuna an opportunity to maybe provide any additional details if you'd like.
No, I just want to thank the few staff that came up to Kauai for that meeting. So thank you so much. Everything went well. We had our military land lease session, and it was really good. The former mayor, Bernard Cavallo, came and talked to me after, and he said we had a great meeting. Usually the meetings can get really confrontational, and that night the two ladies handled themselves very well, and they were very truthful and honest, and people loved it. And they're hoping for more of those kind of meetings, very intimate meetings. But also Uncle Roop made the announcement of they wanted to thank the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. In the budget we set aside I think like 50,000 during the budget, and they brought back the keys to Kauai. So it's already packed up, loaded, and on its way to Kauai. So they were very happy, all the Kanakas on Kauai. Yeah. What's that? Was in storage. He was trying to get them back. Yeah. A long time, but thank you to everyone, especially the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I guess to sort of continue on to the mention of the military lease briefings and listening sessions, those continue. They're going to continue in a cadence that is aligned with sort of the conversation that is evolving still around exactly how the state of Hawaii will be responsive to both beneficiary needs as well as the opinions and the position statements of Hawaii residents, all of whom will be affected by either the new entry of new leases for a military presence here and or land exchange and or any other of the legal pathways and options that are on the table. OHA remains committed to facilitating robust conversations that allow for transparent sharing of information that we receive in real time, and making sure that we reach every island, every constituency who has something to say about this really impactful issue addressing, all of our pai'aina, but in particular, the kingdom and crown lands that are still part of our stewardship, kuleana. And so more information will be forthcoming. We're working with Advocacy and our comms teams, our BSA and community engagement, as well as the trustees around this table for scheduling future meetings. But I will say that Trustee Ahuna is correct, that the tenor of these meetings, and I think in part due to the fact that we have been really intentional about sharing information, really intentional about making more room for the listening session portion of these meetings, and also allowing for the surveys to continue to inform the manner in which we present the information. So even our slide decks, our talking points are evolving as we are letting the community inform, our process. It has been really beneficial, I think, hopefully reciprocally beneficial for those in attendance and also those who can't make it in person but who participate by way of watching the live stream. So all of those investments, the ability to get comms to every island, the ability for us to have live stream opportunities, the ability for us to have surveys that are on our websites 24/7, the ability for everybody to access whatever resources we have on the issue from our website at their convenience. And then also arming all of you with the kind of information that when you go out into your communities, you can answer the questions and engage in the discussions that are top of mind for them. So I'm proud of that effort. I'm proud of everybody who's been a part of that as well. We have also, thank you to the ILM team and the subcommittee working on the Native Hawaiian cultural, the potential for creating a Native Hawaiian cultural center in Kaka'ako. And I think along the theme of having inclusivity and finding real value in people's mana'o and forming, again, OHA's decision-making processes, we have invited key stakeholders to include OHA staff to participate in informing, what the Hawaiian Cultural Center should look like, what its footprint, sort of the kinds of displays and cultural practices and histories, mo'olelo, that will be part of this, hopefully another kind of renaissance, if you will, that will be a longstanding place for gathering, for convening, for showcasing both our history and our evolving culture. And so that survey for OHA staffers, we're asking everybody to finish by January 31st in order to include that thoughtfully in the ongoing conversations. Let's see. And then lastly, something a little closer to home, also important to our staff, is everybody has sort of been, I think, informed or touched somehow positively or negatively by our parking situation. We've had a limited number of parking stalls at Lāma Kukui, and this board had made a decision a few years back about the value of being able to continue affording our workers here free complimentary parking as part of their benefits. And the cost, however, of doing that has been quite expensive. Originally, dole parking, our ability to secure approximately 30 stalls at dole parking, which constituted what was the surplus of what was needed from Lāma Kukui, cost anywhere between $8,000 to upwards of $9,000 a month. It became important during our conversations. I think the chair actually initiated with each paya when his chairmanship began. One of the things lifted up was the convenience or inconvenience of that particular option, and then the manner in which parkings were assigned. Our introduction of a telework policy now, which a number of our employees are availing themselves of. I think the latest count was anywhere between 75 to 80 authorized telework agreements, meant that the opportunity to revisit the way we assign stalls and maybe even the way we manage stalls could allow for some cost savings. And so before the Christmas break, a hui of cross-paya individuals and staffers were assembled to come up with thoughtful solutions that could save us money, that could also make parking continue to be a convenient option for folks, and that could also meet the needs, not be wasteful, use our trust resources as prudently as possible. I am happy to say that because of the stall sharing ideas that were surfaced, because some of the knowledge that our land management team, together with our ops team, together with HR, together with procurement, figured out, and the legal division, I can't forget them, figured out that we actually have enough stalls on site to no longer need to rent any stalls over at Dole Parking, and to satisfy our employees' parking needs within our footprint. So that amounts to a cost savings annually of just under $100,000 a year. We will be prioritizing and consistent with sort of past protocol, on-site workers. So it feels fair that if you are working 4 to 5 days here at Lāma Kukui, either because you have opted out of telework or because your kuleana requires you to be on site, that you're afforded priority in terms of parking assignments, and then everyone else, they're given priority along with people who have necessary accommodations as well. And then after that, there's a stall sharing agreement that will be forthcoming and allows for everybody's parking needs to be satisfied on site. So I think it reminds me of a lot of other efforts that have been underway and have proved really fruitful. And so I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that this collaboration is an intentional one. If you recall, earlier in the year, when we had a discussion around a critical and emerging time-sensitive need on procurement, we had a stand down, stand together kind of one day, everybody putting their best ideas around finding solutions to some procurement lapses. And the outcome, the product of that was a much more we have staff who are more fluent in our processes. We have, mitigated any like risk exposure that might have, gone unaddressed. And I think it created some cultivation of trust and pilina building between the different payas in order to lean on one another for their expertise. It's no different from our EOLA federal relief program, where part of our hypothetical exercise at a training, a professional development, was how to address the federal emergency relief. And the EOLA program that we are now funding at $6.1 million price tag is a reflection of that kind of really thoughtful collaboration, intentional leaning into problems, and feeling it like you have something to add to the solution of those things. So I think that this parking example is a continuum of that kind of intentional leadership, transparency, and hopefully learning experience that if you're working at OHA, you can be a part of. So mahalo, and if anybody has any additional questions about anything else that we might be working on, yes.
Would you mind also, maybe the ILM chair can connect the birdcage and this solution?
Oh, yes.
Chair Souza.
I guess an announcement. We finally, the Iwile Business Center parcel in the back, we were able to lock in a lease in collaboration with Summer and the land division as well. And it's a 5-year lease. And for those of you who know and were part of the conversation for a while, it was a challenge to get it leased out. And these guys were actually willing to work with us with the parking situation. And so they're a great tenant, and we look forward to a great partnership in the future with these guys. Yeah. Hawaii Pacific
Freight.
Hawaii Pacific Freight.
Hawaii Pacific Freight, 5-year lease in the Iwile warehouse.
Yep.
Part of that lease was the birdcage parking.
Yeah.
And through the efforts of the team here, working with the new tenant, we're able to allow us to use the birdcage when our employees came back on January 5th.
Yeah.
For a short period of time while we worked through these different solutions. So the good news is we got a new tenant for 5 years, income generating in a place that was underutilized and empty. And we had to go through some legal issues to determine how we could lease it. And then the second piece was the lessee was willing to work with us on very short notice between Christmas and New Year's to be able to come up with a short-term parking solution in the birdcage. So,
Yeah, so thank you, Summer, and your team. It wasn't easy, I know, but thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure. Mahalo.
Yeah.
trustees, any questions for Summer? Okay, great update. Thank you, Summer. Okay, trustees, we're gonna move on. We have our two committees that we have, work to do on, and I'd like to start, and ratify the, Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment Committee work. So at this time, Chair recognizes, Chair Galutaria, of the BAE Committee for three, action items for final approval.
Mahalo, Chair. So we'll begin with BAE Action Item 26-01. I'd like to make a motion, members, to approve a resolution supporting the continued community-led management of Kaʻūpūlehu, Kona Region, Hawaiʻi Island, and ongoing agency rulemaking.
Chair, before we make that motion, can we ask for any public testimony,
Yes.
if there is?
There's no public testimony for this item.
Okay, then I make the motion, to approve action item 2601.
Okay, very good. Is it? We're gonna
Discussions?
discussion? No?
Roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Ahuna. Aye. Trustee Akaka. Aye. Trustee Akina. Aye. Trustee Alapa. Yeah. Trustee Galutaria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, Chair Galutaria for item 2602.
Thank you, Chair. I move to approve a resolution supporting Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act claimants' reburial plans for the Mokapu collection at Marine Corps Base Hawaii, Kaneohe, Oahu, as amended.
Public testimony, Lehua? Okay, trustees, any discussion? Hearing none? Roll call.
Aye.
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 Trustee Lindsay.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e. Yes. Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 8 yes votes, 1 recusal.
Lehua, any public testimony on item number 2603?
No one is signed up for this item.
Okay, Chair recognizes Chair Galutaria for final approval.
Mahalo, Chair. This is for the approval of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Legislative Testimony Procedures for the 2026 legislative session as set forth in action item BAE 25-03, attachment A, with the following revision to section VB4. Ratification by the board. Within 48 hours of submission, the testimony shall be forwarded to the full board. At the next board meeting, the board shall ratify, amend, or withdraw the position pursuant to HRS 92-2.5. In the event that the board amends or withdraws a position taken under the rapid response approval procedures, the Advocacy Division shall submit testimony at the next committee hearing to put OHA's updated position on the public record.
Do we have a motion?
So move.
Trustees, discussion? Roll call.
I'm sorry. What? Oh, Chair, Trustee Ahuna. Aye. Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Yes. Trustee Galutaria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay.
Aye.
Trustee Souza. Aye. Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Kino.
just a point of order logistical, if I may.
Yeah, you bet.
The YouTube broadcast, Olelo, has been going off and on since the beginning. I just want to bring that to your
Oh,
attention
okay.
and let our beneficiaries know that we're aware of it, and perhaps the text can take care of it.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
We'll, have one of our staff check it out. They're working on it? Okay, thanks, Trustee
Good,
Aquino.
thank you.
Okay, our next board, item of business is the Committee on Budget and Finance. We have one action item. That's final approval for action item, BOT 2513. Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on this agenda item?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Chair recognizes Chair Wahe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to amend prior Board of Trustees action under action item BOT number 2513 on November 6, 2025, to eliminate the funding allocation of the previously authorized 6.1 million in OHA emergency assistance funding between the two OHA beneficiary groups for one, income bridge support up to $12,000 per eligible individual, and 2, essential needs support up to $350 per eligible individual, and authorize OHA administration to determine the funding allocation of the $6.1 million in EOLA funding to meet applicant demand.
Motion?
Chair.
Okay, we have a motion?
I'd like to correct the reading of the motion. He
Sure.
said 12,000 instead of 1,200.
Okay. All right, that is noted. And we have a motion, Chair Emerita?
You did mention to us that, I can't get on because got 3.
You mentioned to us on Tuesday that we're going to have Kuhio here to answer questions. Is he here?
Kuhio is not here, but the Hawaiian Council Senior Chief Financial Officer and Chief of Staff is here. Kuhio was on a trip. We couldn't commit him 2 days ago. He had already prearranged travel, and so he couldn't be here, but he did send his top executives to come testify today.
Between Tuesday and today, I went over our reports a little bit more thoroughly, and I do have questions.
Great.
And if I could maybe call the representative of Kuhio and Keishan, who gives us the reports.
Sure.
There's some discrepancies I see.
Why don't we bring up the Hawaiian Council as well as the administration, Keishan and anyone else, and we can give them an opportunity to present a short update, and then we can go to discussion and
Okay.
ask all your questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So let's welcome the Hawaiian Council. Why don't you?
Mahalo, Chair. So I just want to introduce, we have Kauilani Ars, who is the Chief
Kauilani,
Operating
you
Officer.
sit
Yep. And then we have Nick Carroll, who is the Chief of Staff from the Hawaiian Council, with us here today for an important update and also a presentation. Mahalo.
Thanks for coming today. We really appreciate it on short notice, and looking forward to the information you have presented and some Q&A that the trustees have. So,
Absolutely. Aloha board, mahalo for the opportunity for allowing us to go ahead and present today. As Keishan mentioned, I'm Nick Carroll. I'm the Chief of Staff for the Council for the Hawaiian Council, and Kau'i is our Chief Operating Officer. You know, Kuhio does send his apologies. I know that I'm not as good looking as Kuhio, so I know that would much rather have had him presenting today. But I think part of the reason why Kau'i and I wanted to present on this this program is because we have been very much embedded into this program even before the start, even before the launch. And Kau'i has been working very diligently with the staff, with the line staff, to make sure that this program has been administered in full compliance with the contract and in alignment with OHA's mission and priorities. So with that being said, I do also want to mention, or mahalo the trustees for your foresight and your leadership to launch a program like this, and you know the efforts that you have conducted have been able to support 2,200 households thus far. And with that, we wanted to go ahead and share just a little bit about the program. So we do have a little, printout for you to go ahead and follow as well. So we're gonna go over to the next page over here. So just as a recap, this next page does share what the eligibility requirements are for the two different programs. So we do have the program that's supporting federal workers, and we also have one that's supporting those who are on SNAP. So I do want to mention that though this one contract, it is one contract, I would like to have the board to look at this as two different programs, two separate programs, because eligibility requirements are different and also the funding amounts are different as well. In order to be eligible for both programs though, there are two key eligibility requirements that need to be met. That is, you have to be Native Hawaiian and certified via the HRP process, and you also need to be a state of Hawaii resident. Now, if we're going to be going to the left-hand side of the page to discuss about the federal program, the amount that you are awarded through this program is $1,200. The other eligibility requirements include assistance for federal civilian employees furloughed or required to work without pay during the federal government shutdown. Also, you would have to go ahead and be furloughed during that time and be a federal civilian employee and provide documentation, not all, but one of these documents, which would be a furlough letter, a pay stub dated October 1st, 2025 or later, agency shutdown notice or employer verification. The other requirement is that you are earning up to 400% of the federal poverty line. And in order to verify that, you would provide your most recent pay stubs or your employer certification showing your the qualified income of the applicant, and then a self-attestation on the individual's household income. Now, that's the program eligibility requirements for the federal employee program. Now we're moving over to the SNAP program. So again, you do have to be native Hawaiian, have to be a resident of the state of Hawaii. For this program, you are eligible of up to $350 of a grocery gift card, or in certain scenarios, you may be receiving a check of $350. So this assistance is for verified Native Hawaiian households on SNAP without child dependents. Now, that is a key point of this program, is that you do not have any children to be eligible for the program. So you are self-certifying the household composition, and you also are validating that you are receiving or awaiting SNAP benefits for November of 2025. That's when the federal shutdown occurred, or in that area. So in order to go ahead and show proof of that, you would be providing either a SNAP award letter, Department of Human Service case summary, benefits to your portal, your online portal, to show that you are actively receiving SNAP benefits. Another key point is this was in the contract, and mentioning that these gift cards and these stipends are for essential needs. They are not for alcohol, not for tobacco, and not for luxury items. And we do mention that to each individual awardee. They receive a letter with their gift card to mention those things, just to make sure that they are not spending it on those items. And with that, we are going to have Kaʻūpūlehu share a little bit more about the intricacies of the program and maybe a little bit more of the data points. Kaʻūpūlehu?
All right. Aloha mai kako. I too am not as handsome as Kuhio Lewis, but I will try my best today. All right, so what I'll do is I'll take you folks through the application review process through this flow chart. We'll start from the left-hand side. As you can see, we can receive applications in 3 different ways. So either online, over the phone, or in person. Once we receive an application, our associate director goes ahead and assigns it to a care advocate. And this starts a process of 2 reviews, or at least 2 reviews. When the care advocate is assigned to the application, they are reviewing all of the applicant's information. They're checking for accuracy. And then they're also reviewing if all of the supporting documents have been submitted. If they're missing anything, then they reach out directly to the applicant, and they'll have a conversation about what's missing, and they'll work with the applicant to submit those applications, to submit the supporting documents. They're also reviewing the supporting documents to ensure accuracy on that level. Once the care advocate is done with their review, they're going to make a recommendation to either proceed with an eligible application, or if they're ineligible for funding. They're going to elevate this application and the recommendation to a care advocate lead who does exactly the same thing. They'll review the application information, supporting documents. 9 times out of 10, they come to the same conclusion. For the times that they don't come into the same conclusion, it's a bit iterative, so they'll probably go through the process 3 or 4 more times until they do come to the same conclusion of recommending either you're eligible for funding, or ineligible. Once the second review is done, if they're marked as approved, it's sent over to our finance department, and then our finance department will either cut a check to send the $1,200, or we'll go ahead and send out the grocery gift card. Now, if the application is marked as ineligible, there are 3 different places that this application could end up in. One, it could be declined altogether, and this means that the applicant did not meet the eligibility requirements. 2 is it would fall into an inactive status, meaning we've made at least 3 attempts in contacting the applicant. Usually it's more like 4 to 6 times. We'll email, we'll call, and we'll try to reach out to the applicant. And if there's no response, then we'll mark it as inactive and they'll just sit in a separate queue until the applicant reaches back out to us, and then we'll start the application process at that point. And then also it's an applicant withdrawal. We have had applicants call us and say, we're no longer interested in a program, so we'll go ahead and withdraw our application. That's that review process. So if we'll go to the next page. This is a snapshot of what's in our application pipeline now. So altogether, we've received 3,227 applications for both programs, and we've dispersed about $1.6 million. Now you'll see the breakdown for both programs. On the federal side, I want to point out that we have approved 1,001 applications. I am aware that the max for this program was 1,000 applications. When we were running an internal audit, we found 1 application that was sitting in a separate queue. We reviewed it at that point, found out that it was Hawaiian Council's mistake. We wanted to make that right. We approved it, and we're happy to take that out of our own funds if that's what the board is interested in. We've awarded $1.2 million for this program. And then I also want to point out that we've got 261 applications that are currently waitlisted. It's valued at about $313,000. And of the 261 waitlisted, they've all been vetted and they're able to be approved. They've also all been informed that we're waiting for approval for funding. So they're sitting and waiting for next steps from us.
Could you tell us how much was allocated of the 6.1 million to each program? That would help us.
Yeah, so absolutely. So that was part of the action item that I believe the trustees approved, that it was allocated, that it was a set number that 1,000 applications would be set aside for the federal program. And then the remainder, I think it was 15,000, that set number was in the action item for the SNAP program.
So 1.2 million was dedicated to federal civil service employees, 1,000 qualified applicants, and approximately 15,000 qualified SNAP beneficiaries would receive a $350 gift card. So 350 times 15,000. The balance would be the administrative fee.
It's just 6.1. We'll wait for the discussion.
Sure.
On the SNAP side, we've approved about a little over 1,200 applications, and then we've awarded $422,250 on the SNAP side. On the next page, you'll see that we've broken that down by island. I won't go over in detail, but so you folks have it broken down. You'll see on 2 sides the cadence is identical. The highest volume of applications come from Oahu, and it trickles down from there. On the next page, you'll see that we've drilled down even more. We've taken it by zip code, and we're able to find out what are the top 5 cities per program that have the highest volume of applications. So you'll see that for the federal side, and then on the next page, you'll see that on the SNAP side. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the SNAP denials. If you flip over to the next page. You'll see that the top reason for SNAP denials is because there is a minor dependent within the SNAP household. There's about 263 declined applications in the pipeline right now. And of those 263, 159 of them belong to the SNAP program. And of the 159 SNAP declines, 71 of them have been declined because there was a minor child in the SNAP household. We also received 4 applications from minors themselves. Now, my hunch is that an adult probably submitted the application for the minors. But if you're going to add the 4 minors, you have 75 applications that have been declined because there is a minor within the SNAP household.
So going to the next slide, regarding the community outreach, I do want to mention some of the things that we have done to promote the program within the community. So, you know, right off the bat, when the program was launched, we did go to 6 dedicated locations statewide to go ahead and have boots on the ground case managers to be able to help process applications. And then from there, we went ahead and did multiple types of marketing efforts, both paid and earned media. So that included a paid targeted campaign that I believe was shared during one of the last meetings. And also we had done social campaigns on our own Hawaiian Council social networks, and we also cross-collaborated with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs on your folks' social media platforms as well. The other thing too that I wanted to mention is that, you know, this program had started during the federal shutdown. However, right after the federal shutdown was the holiday season. So in order to go ahead and promote this program and target folks to be able to understand like that this support is still available, we shifted the branding during the holiday season to make it more promoted towards that. Holiday season, you know, there's obvious more costs on the table when you're going to have family and you know, party, or not parties, but like, you know, you get family coming in, right? Gatherings, that's the right word. So we did go ahead and change some of the narrative of how the program was promoted for that time. And now that we're out of the holiday season, we're going to be shifting our messaging again. Another good thing that really helped with this program as far as marketing was the partnerships with KTA, which is on Hawaii Island, and also Foodland, which is statewide. Their marketing teams have been very supportive of this program, and we have been working closely with them to try to find different ways that we could go ahead and outreach. So one of the examples is with KTA. I believe at every single register or checkout register, there's a flyer or there's a billboard that mentions this program. So that way everyone could go ahead, while they're checking out, they could go ahead and see what's available. Other things that we have done are we recognize that this clientele, it's very targeted, this program. And I'm speaking more so for the SNAP program, because that's the program that we are still soliciting applications for. So we reached out to 26 different organizations statewide that help to support this clientele. And so that way they could go ahead and promote it to their clientele. So those organizations include US Vets, Department of Human Services, Department of Education, DLIR, and also Waianae Coast Comprehensive. That's just amongst some of the 26. And with that, we have also been able to have the opportunity to present to a lot of these different organizations like Catholic Charities, the Pantry, Luna Lila Homes, and be able to go ahead and share to some of their case managers or social workers about the program as well. So they could go ahead and be informed. So when they do when they think about the clientele that they serve, they could already snap of a finger be able to identify them and be able to help them through the process of the application. And when we do those presentations, there's oftentimes that we have been able to go ahead and do community outreach events as well that you know, trickle from the presentations. So we've done some of the examples is we have done one in Nanakuli. We also have done one in Papakolea. And there's oftentimes when Hawaiian Council is out in the community that we're also promoting the program too. So different resource fairs and whatnot. So we are able to go ahead and promote there. Another thing that I do wanted to mention, and this is a little bit more targeted towards Maui, is that we do also have 2 dedicated offices on Maui. So there's one in Lahaina, and then there's also one in Kahului at the Maui Mall Marketplace. So the staff at each location is also trained for this program, and they're also trained to go ahead and intake paper applications. So when a OHA beneficiary comes to the office, they could go ahead and sit down with one of our case managers and go through the entire application right then and there. If they have all of their documents too, we could go ahead and scan them, put them into our platform, and then we could start getting them processed. So there are different ways that we are trying to intake applications. I think Kaʻūpūlehu mentioned this a little bit. So online is obviously one of them, but we also are taking applications over the phone. They could go ahead and call our main line, 808-596-8155, to go ahead and get to walk through the process, and they could also in person. So they could go ahead and meet us in person to go ahead and complete the application as well. So moving on to the next slide over here, just wanted to take a little bit of time of talking about some of the next steps of what we could see of this program. So we do hope to continue to work with the different partners. There are some that we went ahead and outreach to, and I think it just requires a follow-up to go ahead and try to get them a lot more informed. But also we're going to go ahead and continue to refine our marketing and outreach efforts. Like I mentioned, this program is very targeted towards those who are Hawaiian, who do not have dependents who are on SNAP. Very targeted clientele. So we have to go ahead and study which different ways to go ahead and outreach them, so that way we are able to go ahead and intake more applications to get more of OHA's money out into the community. And one way that I think that we wanted to do that is to continue this partnership with the Department of Human Services, the State Department of Human Services. If we're able to go ahead and solidify that, and I think that's where we could have OHA's support, is because you're a state agency, if it could be an interdepartment, relationship, so we could go ahead and cross-verify some of these, those who are, SNAP recipients, and we're able to go ahead and maybe outreach them a little bit easier through DHS's platforms. I think that the numbers will start to roll in a lot quicker as well. So with that, that's our presentation. I'm hoping that it answered some of the questions that you may have, but we are happy to go ahead and answer any other questions that you may have.
Thanks so much, Nick and Kaʻūpūlehu, for coming. I recognize Trustee Alapa, who has had her hand up from the beginning. And then we'll go to Chair Merida and then Trustee Aquino. You sure? Okay. Chair Merida, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I have a lot of questions, but I'll share the time with my colleagues.
Okay.
The first question, which I didn't hear the answer, again.
Oh.
The 1,200 and how much was allocated to the 350, not disbursed, allocated. Because that's what our action item is today, allocation, to change it. So
the number comes out to be, I believe it's, the ratio is 80% was for the SNAP program, and then 20% was for the federal program. So if it was a dollar amount, I believe Chair Kahele mentioned it before, so forgive me if I get it wrong, but I believe it was $1.2 million that was for the federal program, the one that was helping federal civilian employees. That was part of the previous action item. And then it was 15,000 times 350. So I forget the dollar amount.
$422,500.
No. I think this is the amount that was allocated for it. So it was. You got me on the spot here. Hang on here.
Well, and while you're looking that up, Summer or Keishan, this was all in the action item that the board approved, right? That we brought before the board in October. It has the best predetermined allocation at the time that Pony and Carla and the entire research team came up with, and their recommendations to us that we adopted. So I know 1,000 potential applicants for federal was the number. The first number. Do you recall what the SNAP target audience was?
I think I got the number here.
Okay.
It was 7.1 million that was, or 6.1 million that was dedicated. Okay, no, I don't. Might need- Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do there.
The numbers that come out are $4,392,000 for the 80%, and the 20% would be $1,098,000.
And how much have we expended thus far?
So as of the 14th of January, we've dispersed $1.6 million total.
So if we clear the 261 pending applicants, which come out to $333,200,
$313,000.
then we'll be right under 2 million total dispersed. The federal civil service category will be exhausted and closed. And now the full weight and breadth of the distribution will be to the
SNAP.
federal SNAP benefits, which always constituted the larger group, but it has proven to be the hardest group because of the restrictions that we have, one of them being no family members, no dependents.
Yeah.
And the ability to reach into that network to really networks and relationships that we have short of the power of the state government and DHS that has the proprietary confidential information to be able to access and distribute quickly. And
Well,
so that's a challenge.
My question is, don't we have enough money allocated today to do just that?
They cannot cut checks to 261 people that are waiting unless we ratify
can,
that.
According to the allocation of 4 million.
No, we only approved 1,000. We only approved 1,000 in the action item. So for them, they cut checks to 1,001 recipients. And for them to cut checks to the 261 that are waiting, they need a affirmative board action today for that.
Because of the percentage. Could we pull up that slide again? I think there was slide number 1.
Well, we approved 6.1, we approved 4 million, and they need less than 4 million.
Slide
So
4.
what is the allocation?
Well, in that action item, this board only approved 1,000 recipients to receive $1,200 checks.
Yeah, why?
And I believe up to 15,000 to receive $350 gift cards. So, correct?
Correct.
Sure, come up so
Well, I
the
can't-
beneficiaries can
I
hear.
can't understand why we approved less than what we approved money for.
No,
That's what I'm questioning.
Yeah, so the reason why we're here, and we had actually an extended conversation with Trustee Waihe, because the manner in which the motion itself, the one that the board voted on, was drafted, it provided these constraints that prevent either the administration from exercising its discretionary authority or the vendor from exercising its discretionary authority that would allow them to deviate from the original allocation of 80-20, which at the time was approximated to 1,000 people in the federal employee category and some 15,000 in the SNAP category. We had our corp counsel revisit the motion language because Trustee Waihe was sensitive to this idea that, did this really require board approval? And corp counsel affirmed that yes, it does, because the motion that is recorded for purposes of, public information, if we didn't revisit this, we might run in risk of violating OIP. So this is really if you are in agreement that our partner administering these funds has the flexibility to make adjustments with administrative approval and authority in terms of these nuanced allocations, because we see a demand of 260 in excess of what we had originally contemplated. But that program, after those 261 applications are satisfied, will be closed, and every effort thereafter will be concentrated on the SNAP recipients. Then your affirmative vote today is
Exactly
consistent with that objective or that goal.
Now, I will add, Chair, why and how staff came up with that recommendation was with the best information they had at the time. Once we came out of our emergency meeting, right? So that was led by Pony and Carla and
Yeah.
the team. and dealing with the conditions on the ground and the best information they had, they came up with that allocation breakdown. And that's what they brought before us and presented, and that's what we approved. So that, to answer your question, like, why did we do that back in November? Well, I mean, things have changed since November, but that's the best information that staff had when they came to us, and we trusted their research and work that they put into that recommendation, and let them loose. Now they're coming back to say, hey, we need to tweak a couple little things to be able to continue what you guys wanted us to do.
Well, I agree that our BNF chair did the right thing, because the language is not correct.
Yeah.
You know, between what we expected to spend and approved and what was on that paper, that approval. So the federal program ended on 11/12, but these people that are waiting payment, did they get approved before 11/12?
I don't think so. I think they, if it's my understanding, I don't want to speak for Hawaiian Council, but probably in the December timeframe.
So to clarify, the program had not ended. We did not receive the official approval
The program didn't end, but the people was starting to get paid by that date, the federal people.
They have, yes, so,
Yeah.
so 1,001 applicants have received $1,200. This 261 number that is
Pending.
waitlisted right now, that's because it was over that 1,000 limit. So they were in that process beforehand, and they're just kind of just waiting until OHA makes the decision to go ahead and approve or not. And like Kaʻūpūlehu mentioned, is that 261, if we are able to go ahead and get that approval from the trustees today, we could go ahead and be able to fund those 261 likely on Monday.
Before I close down, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
sure.
just want to share with Keishan, your reports, the numbers do not jive. On page 2,
Just for clarification, which report are you
page 2
referring
of
to, the most
January
recent one?
14,
Okay.
the total, well, maybe I'm not looking at the right one. Sorry. I added up your 11, on the second page, your I'm sorry, I wrote myself notes in.
While you're looking for that, Chair, can you explain,
Here it
maybe
is.
between the council and, or actually, I don't want to, if you have your questions, then go,
Okay.
jump right in, yeah.
Well, on page 1 of the Wednesday, January 7, you have, right at the very beginning, the 6.1 million fund readiness and disbursements. You have 1.2 million awarded and 292,600 awarded in the essential needs, with a total of 1.596. But in fact, that total is 1.492,600.
Trustee, mahalo for pointing this out. I would have to reference the exact report that you're looking at, so.
January
Yeah.
7, the first cubicle right there in the front page. The essential needs support awarded 292,600. And the next block, income bridge support, 200,000 awarded. You add the two, you came out with 1.596, and in fact, it is 1.492,600. So that's, quite a bit of money.
Hold on, really quickly, I'm just gonna make sure. I know that there was one sit rep that had an additional email that came out where updated numbers were given, because that field specifically was not populated at the time that the sit rep went out. So let me just verify that that's the date, okay?
Okay, maybe we can also reference the most recent one, which is the January 14th. Right, the 14th. We can come back to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much, Trustee. Actually, that was the day that a secondary report was sent out with updated numbers for that field. Yeah, mahalo.
Okay, I know Trustee Tina, you had your hand raised.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Nick and Kaui, thank you for coming down here. Appreciate the work you've been doing and the additional information we have today. With regard to the SNAP program, you mentioned that we had allocated enough to give 15,000 recipients the cards.
Correct.
And that would have been how much money value?
So 15,000 times $350. That's what,
5,250,000?
yeah, 5.25 million.
And of that, how much value, how much has been awarded?
So currently that was awarded was $422,450.
And as you said, that was 1783 applications.
No, so that was 1783 is the amount of applications that we received. So of those, that's how much we received, and of those, 1,207 were approved. So the number is that you want to look at for the approval is the 1207.
1207, thank you
Correct,
very
yeah.
much. So basically, we were able to put money cards into the hands of 207 people, but we were unable to reach the goal of putting it into the hands of 15,000.
I mean, the short answer is yes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm responding to. That's the information I didn't have before. You described your marketing program. You described how you connected in meetings in the community, presentations, outreach events, partnerships, a KTA sponsorship of a program, other marketing efforts, and so forth. As you evaluate this, how do you evaluate the effectiveness of your marketing efforts, your efforts to give away money, and that resulted in less than 12% of the people eligible for that actually taking the money? How do you evaluate that? What is the critical review?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to be honest with you, I'm not that concerned. I think that this clientele, like I mentioned, that we're reaching out to is kupuna. It is also those who are disabled and different, I think it's difficult to connect to communities, and we are trying to find different ways to go ahead and outreach to these communities. And also, like I mentioned, is that I think trying to get that partnership with the Department of Human Services is very critical and something that only OHA can be able to do because you folks are a state agency. When we are able to go ahead and receive that partnership, official partnership with DHS, I believe that the monies will be able to flow a lot quicker.
But didn't you know from the beginning that your target group in this marketing effort was kupuna without dependents and so forth?
Yes.
So that wouldn't you have designed your marketing efforts to reach that specific targeted group?
I think that, I mean, it's a good question to ask, and I think that, you know, I would like to ask if there's other things that you see, Trustee, that we could be doing to better support this clientele.
Well, I appreciate that question, that offer to us to suggest to you other ways to market. But I would point out that that's what we hired you to do, and for you to tell us how it was to be marketed. And I am concerned that you are not that concerned about the marketing. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, at a committee meeting before your presentation, I voted against the proposal to reallocate the funds. That was not based on anything you presented. It was based upon the way my colleagues at the table, as trustees and staff presented the information. And one of the major issues I raised was that in light of the actual numbers that we see of fulfillment of being able to give away this money, we should pause and ask basic questions about our assumptions. And my concern, and this is one of the reasons I voted no on the reallocation, was that we're not pausing and asking those questions. We're not resetting. We were in an emergency situation, and I sympathize with that. I stand with my colleagues in the importance of helping during an emergency, but the conditions of the emergency situation have changed significantly since that time. And so I just want to clarify, I'm not able to vote in good conscience to continue without actually doing that work of looking at this. And today I know something more than I knew at the committee meeting. I know that we don't have a very well-developed marketing plan in order to achieve the goal. I think that CNHA is a wonderful organization when it comes to marketing. I've seen what, under Kuhio's leadership, you have set out to market. That's your strength. And I don't know if we should give you a continuation of funding. We are contracted to do that, but I don't know if we should affirm the reallocation so the program goes on, because there are, I think it deserves some further reflection before doing that.
And thank you, Nick. Trustee Sylva. Well, mahalo, Mr. Chair. First of all, Trustee Aquino, I'm not concerned that you're concerned that he's not concerned, okay, about the situation. But what I'm concerned about is those numbers that we threw out earlier. It's 1,001 cards that are in the hands that got approved of our federal beneficiaries, okay? Those other 261 is what we're discussing today. What I'd also like to make note of is that we have a partnership. This is a partnership, right, with the council, Hawaiian Council. And they've identified a problem, right? We've established those numbers, and our team established those numbers based on earlier data that was brought to their attention, right? They've identified the problem. They're coming to their partner, yeah, which is us here today, and asking, right? There's a percentage that was initially approved. They're asking to amend that percentage. That's what the action item here is, to amend that original allocation, because they've identified more members of the federal side that needs these funds. And the goal is here to get those monies out. So I think in working with our partners, we need to identify that if we don't approve this today, those guys don't get the money. And I think Nick has identified early on, and he repeated himself after as well when you had asked the question, that DHS is a key player in this, and asking for our help as a partner to help them do their job effectively. So for the record, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, may I ask permission just to make a fast response to
Sure.
my colleague?
Trustee, can
You and I are on the same page, Trustee. We affirm much of the good work that has been done. I'm not talking about the 261 on the federal side who have been made promises that we must fulfill. I actually agree. We've got to fulfill our promise to the people on the waiting list. I'm talking on the other side, the SNAP benefit numbers. Just want to clarify that. Thank you. But otherwise, we're on the same page.
Thank you, Trustee Aquino. And just, I mean, for our trustees, right, the action item that the BNF chair has brought before us is to authorize the 261 $1,200 cash payments and to close that portion of the program. We're contractually obligated and working with Hawaiian Council through the first week in May. And then I think we can reevaluate the total fullness of the distribution program. But that is not before this board today. The ability for Kayshawn and the admin since day one to provide the most up-to-date, to the best of their ability, transparent information on the distribution amounts as received by Hawaiian Council, I think has been something that has been seen here at OHA for quite some time, and I commend them for doing that. It does give us the opportunity to ask, probing questions and how the efforts are doing, but it is a partnership. It is what is every trustee doing on this table to reach into our networks and our kupuna bases and the communities that we have, or having the Hawaiian Council come to our communities to do that. So we can work together to do that. One thing we can do is work together with the DHS director, Ryan Yamane, and his team to see if there is an opportunity for us to unlock some of that or to partner with the council to access those databases, because they know who those SNAP recipients are. They are sending them the SNAP benefit every month, and they could easily distribute those funds if there was a way for us to do that working with the Hawaiian Council. And I think that's my top priority after this. Thanks, Trustee Aquino. You ready, Trustee Lapa?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go for it.
Amending, the action item to, amending the action item to add the 261, I guess to add for clarity is based on what Trustee Lindsay had suggested.
No, it's.
Is it there, the 261? Waitlisted applications, and that's what this item, this action item is about?
Yes. It gives them the ability to do that.
Because you just stated that that's what this is about, the 261. So shouldn't those numbers, the 261, be added?
Sure. I mean, if you wanted to be that specific, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what this is for.
Wouldn't hurt?
If it seems too vague, then that we can do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to make a motion?
I think that would clarify everybody's question.
Sure. Okay,
Okay, guys, that's fine.
yeah.
But you better,
Sorry.
you guys, I mean, my concern is that then you better be sure, like, that's accurate, because we're in this mess because the number wasn't accurate. So I want to give them the freedom to do it in case there was one, there was 262, then.
Well, hold on. So the number is accurate, right? The allocation that staff recommended was 1,000 potential applicants, but we had more than 1,000. We had 1,261 applicants. Yes, so
As of the
1,001 have
14th,
been
right?
approved, 261 are pending, and that's what they're asking for us to approve specifically, right? Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think I'd like to clarify, real quickly, sorry, is that these numbers that is provided to you was as of the 14th. So there, like I mentioned, that the application portal is still open, so there may be more that have been submitted since then.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, 261 is what Hawaiian Council has approved, and checks can be processed immediately. And that, what's that? Sure, okay, yes, it would be 262, yeah, and I guess, Nick, if there are any other those would not be approved. We're approving what is already done.
Yes.
You may want to suggest that they just amend the motion versus amend the action item, right? Because then we're talking about a different vote and a different notice.
Yeah. So what we could do is we could amend the motion to specifically approve the ask, which is an additional 262 on top of the 1,000 we did, and that's it. Okay, why don't we take a quick recess so we can work with board council to come up with that motion, and then Trustee Lapa can make that motion. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Mr.
Trustee.
Chair, may I ask a clarifying question about the framing of the motion? My understanding is that we are going to amend it so that we can ensure that the 261 beneficiaries who have been promised the benefit will be able to receive it.
Correct.
Okay, and I'm glad for that. How does this impact the SNAP side of the picture? Will the motion be empowering a continued effort as described by CNHA to reach the SNAP beneficiaries?
So two things. the motion will need to say 262
Okay,
because one made it in. And so we don't want the Hawaiian Council and so it'll be 262. And there isn't on the table any motion to amend what is already previously approved under the SNAP distribution program.
We haven't closed it.
Right, right, correct.
Until they come up with something better
Right,
for
right.
those people that we're helping.
Yeah.
I would imagine that'll be open
Right.
until we visit.
Yeah.
so then CNHA has basically today described the problem you're seeking to solve now with regard to the SNAP side and the future marketing efforts of that will continue.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to comment, Trustee Akina, of what you are mentioning. You know, when it comes to marketing, you are able to go ahead and promote. However, you're not able to go ahead, you cannot force people to go ahead and apply to a program. And we do have to understand the reality of this program for SNAP, is that it's $350. It may not be enticing enough for folks to go ahead and submit an application to receive $350. So I know that's not on the table today, but I think that's something that the board should consider, is that the federal side, it's a $1,200 cash award. The SNAP side is a $350 gift card, which is what was part of the act, or what is, we're just following the contract at that point.
Two gift cards.
Or, well, if it's KTA, it's two 175 gift cards, yeah.
Nick, I think we have to, at OHA, take responsibility for what you just said. You said it's on our end that we're only giving away a $350 amount, which is not very much, as you said, compared to what's being given away on the federal side. And that is true, but that is what, while we are in a partnership with you, we were also in a business transaction where we have hired you as our vendor to do specifically that. I agree with you, it's not a lot of money, but that is what you were hired to do and hired to come up with a plan to do. And in good faith, that's what the expectation would be. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mahalo, Trustee.
and I'll just like I reiterated the other day, the reason why the $350 number is where we landed at is so that we didn't affect the eligibility requirements of these SNAP beneficiaries. It was the same concerns for the governor's office and DHS, same concerns that we had. Part of the reason why we went with the gift card route, unless you're on an island like Molokai that doesn't have Foodland Times or KTA, and so we did direct cash distributions. But the last thing we wanted to do was affect an individual's eligibility and not allow them to be certified under the new federal SNAP guidelines that have also dramatically changed since November, and continue to allow them to receive that benefit. Okay,
Thank you.
Vice Chair, we're good? Okay, let's take a quick 5-minute recess, and we'll come up with a motion that the Budget and Finance Chair is comfortable with, and then we'll reconvene. Reconvening the Board of Trustee meeting, Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I'd like to,
Chair Waihee.
I'd like to rescind my motion.
Okay, Chair Waihee rescinds his motion. Chair recognizes Trustee Lāpa.
Yes, hi, Chair. I'd like to make a motion for the following: to amend the prior Board of Trustees action under action item number 25-13, November 6, 2025, to eliminate the funding allocation of the previously authorized $6.1 million in OHA's EOLA Emergency Assistance Funding between the two OHA beneficiary groups for number one, income bridge support, up to $1,200 per eligible individual, and number two, essential needs support, up to $350 per individual, and authorize OHA administration to determine the funding allocation of the 6.1 million in the EOLA funding to meet applicant demand identified as income bridge support for an additional 262 eligible and previously approved applicants.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Trustees discussion.
Mr. Chair, I want to amend the
Chair
motion.
Merida.
I want to take out and authorize OHA administration to determine the funding allocation of the 6.1 million in EOLA funding to meet applicant demand. That's a board decision. It's not administration's decision.
Well, we have an amendment. We would have to.
Remove it?
Okay. So we have a motion, we have an amendment, discussion on Chair Merida's amendment? Or you want to provide
No,
further context?
I'm open for discussion if our colleagues want to discuss, but I'm just saying that that is our position to spend that money. What if we give out the 262, there's $4 million left, and administration going to decide how to spend that $4 million? I don't think so.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair.
Somebody's mic, sorry. The $4 million, that's for SNAP, right? It'd be for SNAP, so on the contract is still open, correct? And so you guys are already authorized to use that money, correct?
So the only two areas that we could go ahead and utilize that money for would be either federal civilian employees or for SNAP beneficiaries. Correct.
So operationally, it would be administration, regardless, working with you folks as they've done to get those monies out, correct?
Correct, yes.
So I'm confused on the amendment, Mr. Chair.
I'll withdraw that amendment because
I think they've
I was confused as that it was not only affecting EOLA, that it could be any monies.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, okay.
You okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Trustees,
Chair
any more
Merida.
discussion?
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay.
Aye.
Trustee Souza. Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele. You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. Trustees, if it's okay, can we take the, first of all, thank you so much, Hawaiian Council, and Iolani and Nick, you are excused.
Okay.
Mahalo, Nick and Kaui.
Before they depart, is it okay if I want to say mahalo nui. I just want to mahalo
Yep.
Hawaiian Council
Okay,
on behalf of everything that they've done to support this program. And I want to say, like a lot of due diligence from Pony and her team has gone into surfacing the top organizations to handle this funding appropriately and ensuring that they are also native CDFIs. And they were surfaced and they have been working very closely with us on this.
Great.
Mahalo.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and it's a hard distribution. We understand that. Please include the neighbor islands.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, if we can get unanimous consent, just to take one item out of order. I believe we have one individual who's been very patient with community concerns. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up for community concerns?
Yes, we have one person. We have Raymond Sin.
Raymond. Aloha, Raymond. Aloha.
You can't spell aloha without oha, right? Yeah, taro plant roots, right? All right. So it's 5 minutes, yeah?
You're welcome. You're recognized and you have 5 minutes.
Okay,
Thanks for joining us and being patient.
thank you. So, good evening. My name is Raymond Sin, active duty United States Air Force, formerly a high school teacher on the 9th Island, Las Vegas, Nevada. I have two teaching philosophies. I've been on this island about 15 months. One is to seek to understand before being understood, and that sharing is caring. So I wrote a little bit a poem about some of my understanding of Hawaiian culture and history, as well as the Aloha spirit. And I think last time we spoke, you actually gave me this book, and I read it by Kūkahekahe, as well as Abraham Akana, I believe, the Kauai'iho Church that Dr. Mark Kūkahekahe. See, as you can tell, I'm not from around here. So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came here to visit. The Aloha spirit was very fundamental in the civil rights movement of the 60s. And so I do want to quickly give a shout out to some of the people I think are really fundamental here in the community. Randy Ching of the Sierra Club, tomorrow at Kaneohe, they're giving away 3 native Hawaiian plants from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Zoe Zhang of Plantoam, it's a plant and coffee shop in Kaimuki, as well as Professor Manulani Mayer of, she spoke at Native Books in Chinatown, and I read a book called Ho'oponopono. She's a UH professor at Hilo, talks about philosophy and epistemology. I know time's running out, so. You must remember, never cease to act because you fear you may fail. The way to lose any earthly kingdom is to be inflexible, intolerant, and prejudicial. Another way is to be too flexible, tolerant of too many wrongs and without judgment at all. It is a razor's edge. It is the width of a blade of peely grass. To gain the kingdom of heaven is to hear what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. That is aloha. All things in this world are two. In heaven, there is but one. So I wrote a poem, it's called Journey of Aloha. A lost kingdom, paradise found, an original sin, an island culture stolen from within. A queen forgives, her people mourn, lands destroyed and lost cause anger and scorn. Soldiers seize the palace, oppressing threat of violence, erase traditions, language, or force silence. Broken promises, betrayal, and uneasy feeling, for aloha is forgiveness, aloha is healing. A forgotten history, a civilization almost lost, a pain, a trauma, a devastating cost. The soft wind blows, the ocean hums, reminders of the past, the heartbeat drums. Islands and homes transformed like dark magic, sugar and pineapple plantations, a reminder of the tragic. Forgiveness for disease, invaders spread like cancer, for aloha is hope, aloha is the answer. A crisis of identity, a queen kept in isolation, a mission, a calling, Lahui, a stolen nation. A sign from Pele, volcanoes in sacred lands shakes, a suffering of her people, her heart gently aches. A story untold, a competition of great powers, frozen in time, the world waiting, minutes become hours. A decision to shed blood or to save face, for aloha is life, aloha is grace. Hopes of old traditions, return of the king, a dying wish honored as the honey creeper birds sing. Ikoa mua, wisdom and future found in the past. Kupuna, wise elders, share knowledge that lasts. Mana, the spiritual power of the sacred land, believe manifest the life force in your hand. The mist clears from above the palms, for aloha is energy, aloha is calm. A yearning for old ways before Captain Cook, freedom and autonomy like a fish off the hook. From sunrise to sunset, Mauka to Makai, from land to sea. A dream, a desire of what Hawaii could really be. Kanaka Maoli, indigenous people scattered away from their land. Ike, knowledge and understanding, respect for both ocean and sand. Kahuna, priest and healer, guidance in life and merit. For aloha is patience, aloha is spirit. Pono, balance, righteousness and all that is good. Moral code, harmony with nature as one should. Kuleana, a responsibility, a privilege, a right, a duty. A culture once lost, an everlasting beauty. Strength and tragedy, loss and grief, grand decisions made by ali'i, noble chiefs. Kindness, not weakness, wicked or cruel, for aloha is the engine, and pono is the fuel. Two sides of the same coin, yin and yang, day and night, a path, a way, a voyage towards a guiding light. Light of the world, salt of the earth, aloha and pono, duality and self-worth. Malama aina, to care for the lands that feeds, to protect and honor the land that meets all needs. Thoughts and words to understand and to know, for aloha is connection, aloha is flow. Kalo Taro plant, ohana family to know your roots, compassion and forgiveness even to those that wear camo and boots. Hali, those without breath, an outsider, foreigner, to make amends, mercy, forgiveness for the past, to tie up loose ends. Nature in pure form, respect for all living things, gratitude for uplifting actions, like a bird flaps its wings. A life held in truth, yet lifted higher, for aloha is purpose, aloha is fire. A compass for life, a tool pointing direction, a rainbow in the mist, and internal reflection. In peace and in love in all that we do, aloha is living, pure, just, and true. Bring light to darkness in high places, where masks are worn to hide their faces. Eternal truth and natural beauty, like land and ocean, for aloha is freedom, aloha is motion. Life flows in currents unseen yet near. Each exhale whispers, be present now and here. Truth is a river, clear, unconfined, not bound by fear, not shadowed mind. King Kamehameha, the law of splintered paddle, upheld by warrior Koa, trained in weapons and battle. War and peace, life and death, for aloha is intention, aloha is breath. The gift of the present moment, wipe away past tears. Kumu, the teacher says, trust in aloha during doubts and fears. So breathe in, my friend. Feel mind and body as one, for a journey of 1,000 miles has only just begun. Aloha.
Mahalo nui loa. Thank you for sharing that with us. Lehua, anyone else signed up?
No one else is signed up.
Okay, trustees, the next item on our agenda is executive session. Do I have anyone signed up to speak on executive session?
No one is signed up to speak on executive session.
Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session pursuant to HRS section 92-5? Trustees, do we have a discussion on that motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Ahuna? Aye. Trustee Akaka? Aye. Trustee Akina? Aye. Trustee Alapa? Yes. Trustee Lindsay? Aye. Trustee Galuteria? Aye. Trustee Souza? Aye. Trustee Waihe'e? Yes. Chair Kahele?
Aye.
You have 9 trustees that said yes. We are moving into executive session.
Okay, quick, very. Okay, we've convened the Board of Trustees back in open session. The Chair would like to report out that the board took no action during executive session. Our last item on our agenda is any announcements. Trustees, do we have any announcements? The Chair has a few, but if not, I will announce that, as was mentioned by the administration, tomorrow is the Onipa'a March on Saturday, January 17th, the anniversary of the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom on January 17, 1893. And for those that would like to gather at Mauna Ala, starting at 9 a.m. when protocol begins, and the march will begin at 9:30. I know there'll be a significant presence of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs there tomorrow, along with many other beneficiaries from our community. OHA is looking forward to being at the Capitol for opening day of the legislative session next Wednesday, January 21st, and mahalo to our Advocacy Paya for coordinating our office visits, preparing our OHA's Ledge Primer sheets, and working hard along with our BAE Chair and Vice Chair on preparing the Office of Hawaiian Affairs for this year's legislative session, so mahalo for that. Our next Board of Trustee meeting will be on Thursday, January 29th, 2026. This will be following the meeting of the 3 standing committees on Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. And finally, we just want to wish everyone a restful holiday weekend and a wonderful 2026. Chair Galatera.
Yeah, really quick, if Lena Ala wrote a wonderful article in the Kawaii Ola, and it's a comprehensive article about the legislative package. So if you folks need to, take a look at that, it's everything that we got. Okay, just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
And speaking of Kawaii Ola, Trustee columns were due yesterday, but I'm sure Pua will be more than willing to accept your column for Pepeluali next month, which is Olalo Hawaii month, and so a lot of opportunities. You did yours, okay? Pua mine is coming, but trustees, quick reminder. Anything else? Okay, well, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna. Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina. Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Trustee Waihe'e. Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes. We are adjourned.